morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 4 and episode number 468 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Cryo Media Network. Shadoop, shadoop, yeah. Today, recording day is Thursday, September 12th, 2024, and it seems like it's a grayish day here at the Beaver Lodge to start, but hopefully the sun will pierce through. I am your host, the Eager Beaver, pronouns he, him, hey, Mr. Beaver, and with me, as always, is my good friend, Mr. Grizzly. Big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Peppermaster, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. But before we go any further, Mr. Grizzly, how is your mental health doing today, sir?
Well, good morning, sir. I think I'm okay.
All right.
Well, another restless sleep night and vivid dreams again, so you wake up a little confused. Apparently, according to Bridget, I was growling in my sleep like a grizzly bear last night, so
There you
no
go.
idea. No idea what took place. I have no recollection of growling in a dream, so might have been something else. So yeah, I'm a little groggy because I'm not fully awake because I didn't sleep great. And the late sunrise is beginning to affect me in the morning.
Okay.
You know, it's even like Lola used to get up at 5. Now, no man, 6:30. She's like, okay, I'll get up now. Like, all right.
You are getting some fashion compliments in the chat, Mr. Grizzly.
Oh,
for
thank
your
you.
shirt.
This is
There you
courtesy of Mademoiselle Fox.
Excellent taste. Excellent taste indeed. All right, kids and cubs, we have a weird morning for you because apparently the news stopped.
Yeah, it's like
It just kind of stopped. And I mean, when I mean stopped, I mean like literally. Like iPolitics hasn't sent a political briefing news thing either last night or this morning. I tried to catch up on the most latest news, as I always do before starting the show, and nothing on CBC that streams on podcast actually works. Everything that says stream meets with an error. Everything that says, okay, then don't stream, download says this has failed.
yeah,
So apparently there is no news.
none at all.
None at all. So,
Nothing happened anywhere.
nothing happened anywhere. Nobody decided to put anything out. And if they did put something out, well, you can't access it. So because the computer says no. I know that Mr. Grizzly has something that we do want to mention because it did come out with weirdness in Alberta.
Yes.
Again. And then I think what we will do is we will just take a little moment on this episode to celebrate our Paralympians because I've been wanting to do it for the last few days. And again, so much news that we haven't been able to. So given that there is no news coming in, so I don't really have, I can't tell you the latest on anything because I can't access any of it. We will celebrate our Paralympians. But Mr. Grizzly, Let's talk about
Derek
he,
Fildebrandt.
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 He just seems to be circling down a drain. This one has been
Yeah,
for a while.
yeah. This is not out of the blue. This incident. This took place last April. This gentleman's been, like you say, circling the drain for a while now. Now, and I'm gonna be kind here because I think there might be a mental health issue. To be honest with you,
Okay.
and this is coming from somebody who has a lot of mental health issues, who usually sees in others. When you get that outraged and that angry over something that is literally nothing, that's usually a sign of a very short fuse, and very short fuses tend to come with people who battle depression. I know because I've had days, and I've talked to friends of mine where you wake up in the morning and you're miserable because you're awake, and that's a legit thing. And then you get up to make your coffee, and you can't get the coffee filter to open up when you go to put it in the pot, so you can put your coffee into it. You can't get it
Right.
to open up, and you get so frustrated you're ready to throw the whole coffee maker out the
Yes.
window and smash everything in the kitchen.
Yes.
Like outbursts of extreme anger. You don't do it because it's like, "Ugh."
You paid for all of that, and you worked for all of that.
Yeah, and you don't want to repurchase it all. But it literally seems to be that type of response. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he's just a miserable person. But this guy's been circling the drain for a while, and I suspect a mental health issue, possible depression, possible bipolar. I don't know. I'm not a physician.
Yeah.
I'm a psychologist.
But just to give an idea, based on his Wikipedia page, on May 27, 2016, Wild Rose leader Brian Jean suspended Fildebrandt for an indefinite period of time after he wrote, quote, "Proud to have constituents like you," in a response to a comment referring to Ontario Premier Kathleen Wynne as, quote, "Mr. Wynne," or whatever hell she identifies as, which Jean called unacceptable. It would be very interesting to see if Brian Jean believes that today. This came on the heels of an incident where Firebrand criticized Premier Wynne in the Alberta legislature as Wynne sat in the gallery as a guest. Fildebrandt said, quote, he entirely misread the original comment. On Tuesday, 31st May 2016, he was reinstated into the Walrose Caucus as the opposition Shadow Minister of Finance. Also in 2016, Fildebrandt was accused of hitting his neighbor's parked vehicle with his truck, causing an estimated $2,000 in damage. He appeared in court to plead not guilty and denied it happened, saying, "I would have left a note on the front windshield. It's the decent thing to do." On December 4th, 2017, Fildebrandt was found guilty of leaving the scene and failing to notify the owner of a damaged vehicle. On the 9th of August, 2017, it was reported that Fildebrandt was renting out his Edmonton apartment on Airbnb while claiming a housing allowance from the legislature of Alberta to pay for the apartment. He initially defended himself, calling the act, quote, reasonable and a part of the modern sharing economy. Later, Fildebrandt apologized and claimed that he returned the income made from the property, which was a really weird thing because, for example, when you travel, back in the days when you used to be able to get a meal on an airplane,
Mhm.
you couldn't deduct your per diem for that meal because you had already paid for that meal with the plane ticket.
Yes.
So if you can't do that for meals on a plane, you certainly can't do it for housing that's being paid for by the government. Like, this is hardly a stretch, buddy. I don't know how you could have possibly mistaken this or gotten this one wrong, but you did. On August 14th, 2017, Alberta Party leader Greg Clark revealed that Fildebrandt had been charging meals to his MLA expense account while simultaneously claiming his MLA per diem for meals. Oh my God, I should have read forward. The potential total of which was $192.60 over a period of 2 years, and Fildebrandt stated that it was a result of administrative errors. Clark claimed that Fildebrandt was effectively double claiming his meals, a practice Clark claimed was in violation of the Legislature Member Services Committee order. Fildebrandt responded to the claims by saying, "I should have been more careful in reviewing them before signing off. I will fully reimburse any discrepancy and take immediate action to ensure that errors like this do not happen again." On December 13th, 2017, Fildebrandt was charged with trespassing onto private property and hunting white-tailed deer in violation of the Wildlife Act. Fildebrandt apologized, claiming that he didn't know he was on private property and that he donated the deer to a food bank. He ran in the 2015 election for Strathmore Brooks and won that with 52.55% of the vote. Then ran again in the 2019 general election in Chestermere Strathmore and finished third. He was running as a Freedom Conservative and no longer as a United Conservative. So I guess he had gotten booted by the party from all those things that happened in 2016 and 2017. And in that race, he finished third with 7.38% of the vote. And he has been vying for relevance and visibility since. And even though there doesn't seem to be anything on his Wikipedia for the last 6 or 7 years, he has been trying to get noticed, and not necessarily in the best ways. And, well, fast forward to 2024, and take it away, Mr. Grizzly.
Well, former MLA Derek Fildebrandt's trial got underway on Wednesday with testimony from 3 teenage boys who said he threatened to shoot them and chase them in his pickup truck. I was really scared. I thought I was going to die that day, said 13-year-old Marcus. Please note CBC News is not using the surnames of the underage witnesses. They will be identified as Marcus, Daniel, and John. During his arrest, Fildebrandt, 38, told police he chased the kids because he believed they had vandalized a "No peeing on my lawn" dog sign. The 3 boys testified remotely at Fildebrandt's trial on 4 charges of uttering death threats stemming from an incident earlier this year. The alleged events happened on April 13th. The boys said they were celebrating John's 14th birthday that day. The group had gone paintballing and then arrived back at John's home in the southwest community of Crestmont for dinner and cake. Afterwards, the boys decided to head to a nearby gas station for snacks around 9 p.m. A 5th friend texted the group asking to join. The witnesses testified the group waited for her in front of Fildebrandt's house for a few minutes, talking amongst themselves, playing on their smartphones. The 3 boys each said that after a few minutes, they noticed Fildebrandt peeking out of his window at them. We were getting weird looks from out his window, said John. Daniel testified he understands why the group standing outside at night could look suspicious, but none of them touched anything on Fildebrandt's property. It's dark, 14s are standing on the sidewalk. I can see why he'd be suspicious, said the 14-year-old. Fildebrandt then came out of his house holding an object. John testified Fildebrandt was enraged. At the time, Fildebrandt was using a cane after breaking his leg in a motorcycle accident, but the teens testified they believed it was a gun because of what he yelled. We were all arguing what it was, and then he said, "I'm going to shoot you," and then we were confident it was a shotgun, said Daniel. Prosecutor Stephanie Morton asked Marcus if he could tell what Fildebrandt was holding. Not 100%, but he said he was going to shoot us, so I assumed it was a gun, said Marcus.
Naturally.
Well, yeah. Marcus testified Fildebrandt said, "I'll shoot you if you come back here," while waving the object in the air. The boys then ran, but Fildebrandt caught up to them in his pickup truck. Okay, that is not normal behavior from Mr. Fildebrandt. This is me editorializing right now. Why did you chase down kids for standing outside of your home? Okay. They described hiding behind cars and a tree as Fildebrandt spotted them and reversed down the street. Marcus testified that as he ran down the street, Fildebrandt dove onto the sidewalk, cutting him off with the vehicle. Fildebrandt then rolled down his window and told Marcus to stay where you are. You'll be in a lot less trouble. John testified he hid behind a car in a nearby driveway and then banged on the front door in distress. A woman named Vanessa answered, let John inside, and left him with her husband while she went outside to see what was going on. Shortly after, John's father pulled up to the scene. Each of the 3 teens testified they did not touch, kick, or take anything from Fildebrandt's property. A doorbell camera video played in court shows 2 of the boys running down the street with a black truck driving after them. In his cross-examination of the witnesses, defense lawyer Alan Hepner confirmed the boys spoke with each other before giving their statements to police. I'm suggesting it was a cane and not a gun, Hepner said to John. It could have been, but I think it was a gun, John replied. After the boys' testimony, a 911 call made by Fildebrandt was played for the court. Fildebrandt can be heard telling the operator, I'm in pursuit of some teenage vandals.
Oh, bearing false witness.
I have no intention of pursuing charges against them. They're just kids. I don't want these kids in trouble. I just want them scared. The operator asked Fildebrandt to describe the damage to his property. He said he only got a brief look. The kids were looking extremely suspicious. They ran, clearly guilty. The 911 operator notified Fildebrandt that police were on the way and he headed home. After interviewing the boys, police arrived at Fildebrandt's home to charge him with uttering threats. He told the officers that the kids were hanging around a bit much and said they looked a little suspicious. That's when he told police he had a series of signs on his property in an effort to deter dogs from using his lawn as a bathroom. Okay. Dogs can't read. Should be to deter dog owners from using his lawn as a toilet. Fildebrandt believed some of the signs were missing or broken. Fildebrandt described confronting Marcus. He looked scared, said Fildebrandt. I said, you're not in trouble. I just want the police to come and give you a talking to. The officer asked if Fildebrandt mentioned a firearm to the kids. I don't think so, he said. I was yelling at kids to, figuratively, get off my lawn. The Crown closed its case Wednesday afternoon. Defense will have its turn starting Thursday. It's not clear yet if Fildebrandt, who runs a Calgary-based news website,
Of course.
will testify in his own defense.
They weren't on your lawn.
Yeah.
You weren't sure whether signs were damaged or removed. You just believed they had been.
Yeah.
Not only did you run out of your house like an unbalanced person, but then you got into your vehicle and chased them down the street.
It's not normal behavior.
I'm going to guess that this happened after the Ahmaud Arbery thing, where people might be, teenagers might be a little more skittish about people getting in their cars and following down the streets, especially if they say they're going to shoot you.
Yes.
Given that it was all over the news that 3 people got in their trucks and found Ahmaud Arbery and killed him.
Yeah. He has, like I said,
the kids were looking extremely suspicious. They ran, clearly guilty. Yeah, you came out of your house like an unbalanced person saying you were going to shoot them.
Yeah,
it's
I would run too.
All of these things happened with you doing nothing. You did not contribute to the, again, I'm imagining my mother. And what did you do?
Yes.
The kids looked clearly guilty. And before the kids looked clearly guilty, what did you do?
Yeah.
Sir. Wow. This guy is...
He has issues. And I hope he gets the help he very clearly needs. I genuinely mean that. Look, I hate to see anybody suffer, and I know what it's like to suffer from depression, anxiety, ADHD, OCD, other things. Anyway, I hope this person can get the help they very clearly need before they do some damage to, well, themselves and somebody else that cannot be repaired or reversed. Because, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? On the other hand, good for those boys and good for the parents of those boys for taking this to court.
Yeah. Pursue it.
Because maybe some type of decision will be the light switch that is needed for this guy to say, hey, maybe I do need some help.
Well, maybe a court-ordered...
Maybe the court... Yeah, that would be really nice if the court would actually order it.
Yes, because then he has to do it. And even though he might fight against it, but if you had, the court could order a fine, some restitution, and 200 hours of therapy or something, you know what I mean? So that he could actually figure out, well, wait, you know what I mean? I have issues. Yeah. Everybody has trauma to some point in their lives. Everyone. Every single person, and it affects every cell and fiber of your being, and it can rear its ugly head in ways you didn't know many years after the fact. You may have trauma that is buried so deep you forgot it happened to you. You've, just shuffled it off, as many of us do from things that happened to us in our childhood. But what you need to understand is that affects every fiber of your being. Every cell in your body is affected by it. And it stores itself in your body. Gabor Mate talks about this at length. Guy Felicella talks about this. We really got to get him on the show.
Yes, we are in communication, so hopefully...
Good. We do follow each
happening
other.
Soon. Oh, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and I like what he has to say because he lived experience, right? Like our friend Dan, lived experience.
Right.
Not just somebody whose opinion, like Doug Ford. My opinion is they don't work. Okay, my opinion is you're a blithering idiot.
Right. Does not necessarily make it true.
No.
I say necessarily make it true.
Mm-hmm.
Although we suspect that Doug Ford is a blithering idiot.
Yeah, we have good reason to believe. Yeah. He's kind of showed us his hand several times. He's not the best poker player.
There's a slight body of work.
A little bit.
Maybe. All right. Kids Cubs, moving on to the happy portion of our show because I'm a big fan of this. We have been celebrating our athletes over the course of the summer because it's been an Olympic and Paralympic year for the Summer Games. And our athletes at the Olympics did us very proud, but our athletes at the Paralympics also did. Part of me wants to say even more proud because they brought back even more medals.
Oh, yes.
So, completely obliterating the total from Tokyo, which I believe was 21 medals and 5 gold. Team Canada returned from Paris with 29 medals. Thank you very much. 8 more.
Wow.
Doubling the gold to 10. 9 silver and 10 bronze. These were most exceptional games.
Indeed.
As the saying goes.
Well, and somebody, I remember reading something not too long ago in a commentary when we had talked to Devin about how we're very happy to see Paralympic Games getting full coverage. And somebody made, well, they'll never be as popular because I'm like, I didn't even address it because I got so angry at their ignorant response. Here's my take on it. These are world-class athletes competing against one another, period, end of story. Nothing more needs to be said. That's it. They're world-class athletes competing against one another. They made us damn proud. If you can't handle that, that's your problem, not mine.
Absolutely. Now, Mr. Grizzly, if you will put this up, these two fine... Oh, okay. Well, we can start with that. Okay.
That gets you right in the feels.
If I ever had the stuff that was required to win an Olympic or Paralympic medal, that would totally be me. Yeah. I'd be on that thing. I'd probably trying to sing "Oh Canada" at the top of my lungs terribly because I'd be choking on tears left, right, and center and just blubbering.
So hopefully we don't get a copyright violation for that, but I'll find out.
Hopefully we don't. Yeah, I got it from the Canadian Paralympic site. And
it should be
site,
okay.
So hopefully that'll be okay.
It was from a TikTok or a short feed on YouTube. Yeah. So it might be okay. I don't know. We'll find out.
We'll find out.
If they tag us, I just have to remove it. So sometimes, folks, if you watch a replay of the live feed and there seems to be something missing, that's why.
Yeah. So that young man that you saw there, and I'll put this other picture, his name is Nicholas Bennett. He was the most decorated Canadian athlete at the Paralympics. And for that, along with Brianne Hennessy, was asked to be the flag bearer at the closing ceremonies. So there you go. Look at them two smiling. I love it. I just love watching it. Nicholas Bennett picked up 3 medals for Canada during the Paralympics, 2 gold and 1 silver. So gold in the men's 100-meter breaststroke, SB14 category, and gold in the men's 200-meter individual medley, SM14 category, and then silver in the men's 200 freestyle. So, good job. Well, very, very, very well done. Also, in terms of multiple medalists, Mr. Grizzly, we have this lady named Aurélie Rivard. I've got a picture of her here for you. She is nothing short of a legend.
What a beauty. What a great Canadian kid right there. I'll
Look at
tell you
that
what.
smile.
What a
Look at
beauty.
that smile. Okay. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, she picked up her 16th career Paralympic medal.
Wow.
Okay. Aurélie Rivard is so good that a few years ago, she also competed at the Olympics as well as the Paralympics. She's that good. At these games, she brought back a complete set: a gold, a silver, and a bronze. So the gold in the women's 400 meter freestyle, S10, a silver in the women's 100 meter freestyle, S10, and a bronze in the women's 50 meter freestyle. So she's a bit like me as a swimmer, except I didn't get medals or anything. But the longer the distance, the better she gets. Clearly. Congratulations to her as well. These are absolutely fantastic results. Then we have this gentleman here, Mr. Grizzly, if you will put him up. His name is Cody Forney, and he is a wheelchair athlete in track and field. And this, again, look at these smiles.
Mm-hmm. World beaters.
I know. It's like, what is it? It's like, and all of these are smiles before the dental program.
Mm-hmm. This is a brilliant comment from PNC Bio. I can understand how some people relate more to the regular Olympics. As a disabled person, I kind of have more interest in the Paralympics. They're both fantastic to watch. Yeah, I get you, bro.
Yeah.
You know, I get it.
Everybody relates to whatever they relate naturally.
Yes.
Everybody's going to be naturally more drawn to something. And if something speaks to you for whatever reason, either personal experience, whether you're living it yourself or you know somebody who's living it, right? That's one thing.
You know what you know, so, you know.
Exactly. But yes, all across the board, you know, whatever it is that you are first drawn to, all of it is good.
Well, and because of the CBC's blanket coverage this year, I was able to watch more Paralympic events than ever. And I saw, I think, damn near every swimming event there was. And of course, watched the entire murder ball tournament because I love to watch that sport. And again, they dialed it back for the Olympics. They weren't trying to kill each other out there like they normally are. But yeah, it was a great games all around. I didn't get to see as much track and field as I normally do, though, because I love watching track and field.
Right?
I was a long jumper in high school and a 100-meter guy. And then I was the fastest guy in elementary school. And I was the fastest guy in my elementary school in the 100, and I had the longest long jump. And when I went to competition, I discovered that I'm a very, very white man.
Oh.
Like, ooh, hey, I came in second in 100 meters. There was two of us, and I was 2 seconds behind.
Ah, yes. That's like whenever we play curling and we lose, and then they say, "How did we do?" And say, "We won the silver medal today."
Yeah. Well, and somebody was like, "Did you get a medal for that?" And I'm like, "No." And I didn't want one. There was two of us. There was one winner out of that event. Two people. I came in second.
Oh my God. All right. And then among our multiple medalists, another legend of parasport, Brent Lakatos, who I believe, yes, wheelchair racer. I will put his image up here, Mr. Grizzly, for the kids and cubs to see. I'm trying to bring up everybody's image so that they get some FaceTime
with the name.
With the name, but again, he has been around for a good while, representing Canada, and he picked up 2 medals for Canada at the Paralympics: a gold in the men's 800 meter T53 class, and a silver in the men's 400 meter T53 class. And I'm just going to look him up a little bit because I want to give you an idea of just how legendary he is. At the Tokyo 2020 Paralympic Games, he won 4 silver medals. 4 silver medals. He adds 2 more here. Let's see, at the 2023 World Championships, he notched a gold and 2 silver. At the 2017 World Championships, he notched 4 gold medals and entered the Worlds on the strength of 4 world record performances at spring meets that year. Collected 4 gold medals at the 2016 Paralympic Games in Rio, with the gold in the 100 meter, silver in the 400 meter, and not 4 gold medals, 4 medals, and bronze in the 100 and 4x400 relay. In 2015, he won 3 gold medals at the Pan American Games. So, he clinched 3 Paralympic silver medals at the London 2012 Games. So he's been on the scene for at least 12 years.
4 Olympics, right?
Yeah. Just a legend. And then we had a gentleman named Austin Smink, who I believe is a new to the Canadian Paralympic at this high level international competition. I might be wrong on that, but he's not a name with whom I'm familiar, and I do follow our para athletes. Maybe not as much as I should, but enough to know, and it's a new name for me. But
yeah, I'm not familiar with his name either, with this individual, but obviously an accomplished athlete.
Yes, who picked up a gold and a bronze. So a gold in the men's 800 meter, T34, and a bronze in the men's 100 meter, T34. And then I've been talking about her a lot, just only because I'm a tennis fan, and her sister is Gabriela Dabrowski from Canada's doubles partner. But this is Tess Routliff, who picked up
cool.
2 medals for us
in the pool.
In the pool, exactly. In the silver in the women's 200 meter individual medley, SM7 category, and a bronze in the women's 100 meter breaststroke, SB7 category. So those 6 athletes are our multiple medalists. So them together brought in 6, 8, 10, 12. Is that correct? 6, 8, 10, 12 of, yes. No, 14. Yes, 14 of the 29 medals.
Wow.
Came from just these 6 athletes.
Crazy. That is awesome. Well done.
You got it.
Well done. It was nicely done. It was nicely done.
Very nicely done. Now, we have a couple more for you, kits and cubs. Now, I don't have everybody up, unfortunately, because there were so many, I didn't have time to do all of them for the show. So I will show you the ones that I have for now. We'll maybe take a break, talk about something else while I can bring everybody else up, and then finish with them.
I want to share something with you right now while you're doing that. This is a video from Guatemala. Wait till you see this. This is crazy. Lightning from a volcano going up into the sky. Ultra rare phenomenon.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's an ultra rare phenomenon, but it does occur. So the lightning coming from the volcano going up into the sky. It's not. This is not CGI. This is not AI. This is a real event, and it does happen. But look at that. Isn't that like wildly spectacular?
Wow. That's fascinating, actually.
Yeah, it is. And here's the thing.
A little frightening, though.
Here's a gentleman here. I don't know who Charlie G is. He's got a PhD. He says lightning can actually move both from the sky to the earth and from the ground to the sky. Here's how it works. I'll pull this down so we can just see our smiling faces, and I'll read it to the kids and cubs, because I think this is kind of a fascinating thing. It's something I've never heard of before. Cloud to ground lightning. This is the most common type. People think of it. most common type people think of. And yes, you think lightning, it comes from the cloud, hits the ground. It starts with a stepped ladder, a stream of negative charge that moves downward from the cloud toward the ground in a zigzag pattern. When it gets close enough to the ground, a positive charge rises up from the tall objects, trees, buildings, etc., to meet it. Once they connect, a powerful surge of electricity called the return stroke flows from the ground up to the cloud, creating the bright flash of lightning. Ground to cloud lightning. In some cases, lightning can begin with positive charge moving upward from the ground, particularly from tall structures like towers. This type of lightning is more common during intense storms. So while lightning is often thought of as going from the sky to the ground, the actual visible strike travels from the ground up to the sky in the final stage. I did not know that before. I think that's kind of awesome. I just, TIL, today I learned. And hopefully so did everybody else. There's your science lesson for today, kids and cubs, from Uncle Grizzly.
Thank you, Uncle Grizzly. We really appreciate that. All right. Who else do we have for you here? We have a young lady who I follow on Twitter named Danielle Doris. And she has been, she had arrived early and was sharing video of, training, telling us what her routine was before she started, how she was training and how she found, while she was in Paris prior to her event. So Danielle Doris also brought home some gold for Team Canada. She, in the pool, of course, she swam the women's 50-meter butterfly S7 and, as I mentioned, picked up a gold. Then we have Sebastian Massaby, who also in swimming picked up a gold in the men's 50-meter freestyle S4 category, and he set a world record in the process of doing that. World record at the Paralympics. Talk about delivering in the clutch.
No kidding.
So that's Sebastian Massaby. He seems rather pleased with that. He really wants to bite into that medal. There you go. So that was a great moment for us. Another good moment for us, of course, we mentioned it on the show, Mr. Greg Stewart, shot putter, 7'2", gentle giant.
That's a big lad. That's a big lad.
Who's about to get married.
7'2".
By the way.
That is a big man.
Yes, you see the podium picture of him with the other two, and it's like I think they come up to his armpits.
I'm 6 foot. He's like 1 foot and 2 inches taller than me.
He's a big boy.
Big man.
Yes. And he came out of retirement to defend his gold medal as well. So at the games, they had this big bell that at the track where track and field athletes rang the bell when they won. And let's just say his ringing was rather enthusiastic. He was very, 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 very happy to win that medal. Then we have Nathan Clement, I believe, who won the first medal of the games for Team Canada, if I am not mistaken, in paracycling road race in the T1 or 2 individual time trial. And he picked up a silver for Team Canada. And again, looking very, very, very proud.
Oh, hell yeah.
That's a smile you can't fake.
No, that is genuine joy right there, my friends. That's what we're witnessing. Genuine joy.
Love that. It's one of the reasons, again, I believe that the Olympics and the Paralympics are like the ultimate in reality TV. Let's say you can watch Survivor and you can watch Big Brother and all of those, like this, and or even the Great Baking Show or something, when it's competition and there's stress and you see people and but then a lot of things might be engineered to go, but to bring people in a certain direction or whatnot, or to create a situation that there would be some conflict. But, just for example, in the competitors that they bring together, oh, these two people might have a personality conflict. Let's put them together on the same show and see what happens. But for the Olympics and the Paralympics, it's literally just, it's like the event, right? One moment, clutch delivery. Do you surpass yourself? Does something happen? Or are you sick on that day? It's just, does somebody come out of nowhere and have the performance of their life? Just, you never know what's going to happen. And you know that all of these people have trained really hard for the last 4 years. They've dedicated their lives. They've made sacrifices in terms, spending time with friends, spending time with family, being at training camps for 2 months in another country far away from people, just all the things that you need to do, the amount of discipline required.
Oh, yes.
Right. And then you're there and it's like, they sold 2.5 million tickets for all Paralympic events in Paris, right?
That's got to be a record. The Parisians, France, you came out and supported like nobody ever has before. Good on you.
The ratings in Canada were fantastic, according to
Yes.
Devin Deroux. I think 11 million Canadians watched at some point, watched something.
Well, and the CBC, the way they covered the Olympics is the way it should be done from here on out. Now, they did participate. They did have participants from competing networks, actually, where they were giving them feeds so that they could broadcast as well, which, I salute you for that. It's the national broadcasters, so they're literally helping everybody out. Now, this was a big moneymaker for the CBC, of course, but if you, like me, watch on GEM, a lot of the feeds you would watch, in many cases, were just a feed. There was no commentary, there were no ads, there were no commercials, and when the event ended, they just have a pullback vision of a stadium or the pool or something, and then they would go back and show the next event. There'd be no commentary. You were still able to watch every single event that was covered because they covered every single one of them. And that is the way to do it.
Okay, cool. Let's see. I was hoping to get some Canadian ratings on the actual Olympics, but I'll look for them later. But according to Devin Deroux, more than 11 million Canadians tuned in for the CBC Radio-Canada's coverage of the Paralympics, record-breaking 614,000 hours of content on CBC Radio-Canada's digital and streaming platforms, up 153% over Tokyo 2020. So this year, they really committed. They really committed. And this is not just in Canada. Channel 4 Press in the UK. Our coverage of the Paris 2024 Paralympics reached 20 million viewers across linear and streaming, a third of the TV population, helping the channel to its biggest audience share in 12 years.
Wow. That's spectacular.
Wow. Viewers watched 7.3 billion minutes of Paris 2024 Paralympic Games across linear and streaming, up from 4.9 billion for Tokyo 2020. That's in the UK. Well, so the people really joined in, right? This is not just, the time has arrived or we're being nice or being
people really did
placating or condescending. Oh yes, let's look at the para-athletes. Clap. Oh, aren't they inspiring?
No, they really
This
did.
is people taking time out of their day, going for 4.9 billion hours in Tokyo 2020 when a lot of people were at home.
Yes, because it was
and had the time.
Yeah,
like this. And now that we're, somewhat back to regular life, people watch 7.3 billion. So they made time for this. And that warms my heart.
Well, this is the thing. During the pandemic in 2021, when most of us were working from home, well, let me rephrase that. Millions of people were working from home. And we watched more now that we're back to, effective this week in Ottawa, 3 days a week in the office for federal public servants, which is interesting because they don't actually have the space, because during the last few years, they've sold off some federal public buildings, and some of them are being repurposed for offices. Many of them are being repurposed for residences, which is not easy in an office building, but we can get into that discussion at a later date. But people have literally said, look, 2 days a week we could do because we could shuffle. There's 5 working days. Now you want us there for 3. We get an overlap. Some teams, we show up and there's no space for us to sit down and work. There's literally no space. There's more people than workspaces. And we're talking Office Workspace 2.0, which is smaller than my studio, my recording studio that I'm sitting in. The desk is smaller, your workspace is smaller, your monitors are smaller. Like, it's just, so I don't know. Nobody has big cubicles in Ottawa anymore. No one in the federal public service, that is. Some private sector do. Most don't. Most have gone to a complete open office concept, which is supposed to be more collaborative, and in many ways it is, but they've discovered that they have to put quiet booths and quiet offices and huddle spaces where people need to go to get away from the noise that you're going to hear. And yes, and James is correct about this. The 3-day-a-week thing is an economic decision. The government is worried about retail and restaurants more than productivity, and that is the truth. And one of the things I heard from somebody, and I don't know, I have not been able to authenticate the source, but a comment was made the other day from somebody saying we should just boycott downtown restaurants and businesses. So you're going to hurt working people because you don't like having to come in one extra day out of the week. And I get it. It's upend your life. I understand that. And it sucks. And I am empathetic towards your cause. But harming others in the process is not the way to go about doing it. Now, someone told me, and again, I cannot authenticate this, but someone told me that PSAC issued that edict.
Yes.
They did.
Yes. The PSAC, yeah. They have a, yeah.
That's not good marketing from a union. I'm sorry. A union suggesting they hurt working people because they didn't get their way. I'm sorry, but you guys have lost the plot on that one. I get it. It sucks. It sucks that you now have to commute into the office. It sucks that there's not enough office workspace. And it sucks that it's upended your life. But you've done it before. And it's 3 days a week, not 5. You will survive this.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, the PSAC put this out. It's called Buy Nothing. Members of Canada's business community have been calling on the federal government to bring employees back to the office for years. The needs of the downtown core shouldn't fall on the backs of workers and the federal public service. How workers spend their money on in-office days will send a clear message to politicians. Quote, our working conditions shouldn't be leveraged by politicians to appease commercial interests. We encourage members to pack a lunch and minimize spending on in-office days, make a decision to buy local as much as possible, promote your favorite neighborhood businesses.
Well, this comment here from Yoshim's, a lot of people were hired with the express knowledge that their position was remote.
A lot of people made decisions about where they were going to live, bought houses further away.
Well, this is so I'm going to address Yoshim's comment here. And if you were hired with the express knowledge that your position was remote, you should have had that written into your contract. If you didn't, that falls on you. If it's a remote job, have it written in your contract. So if they say you have to come in, just say, no, I don't. My contract says I work from home. So if you didn't get that in your employment contract or didn't have an augmentation or a line item added to your employment contract, that is on you. I'm sorry, but you have to be responsible for yourself. It's plain and simple. Do I think that people are going to suffer from this? Yeah, definitely. Definitely. People will. Businesses will probably get a little bit of an uptick. How much, I don't know. People who have suddenly had to augment their lives again because of, post-pandemic, where COVID is not gone, by the way, but post-pandemic and post-business shutdown and post-work from home by order. Yes, some people have to augment their lives so that they can come in one extra day out of the week. But if you get to work from home 2 days out of the week, it's not bad. That was the schedule I had. I was in the office 3 days, at home 2 days. You figure out your schedule, work your schedule for your best life choices. The comment you made a second ago, though, sir, that I also think we should address is the amount of people that, when remote work was issued, they bought places far outside the geographic zone that they were working in. I know some people who actually have been terminated for this because
Wow.
their contract said you have to work within this geographic zone. And some people bought far outside of it. Well, I was able to buy, and I work remote. It's like, no, you need to come in. I can't make that commute. Yeah, that's not our problem. Your contract says this.
Hmm.
So if you bought, you have to accept responsibility for your actions. If you purchased a home outside of the geographic area that your employment contract states you're supposed to work in, and now they're going to terminate you because you refuse to make the commute, that is on you. You did it. It's your responsibility. People need to accept responsibility for their actions, and this happens to be one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. But I can see like a lot of the arguments. Like I can see PSAT going, it shouldn't be on our backs that,
Mm-hmm.
downtown
no,
core
I'm
businesses.
empathetic towards that,
like,
but I think their
yeah,
messaging here is bad.
it's bad. Like, and I see that they're trying to balance the message by saying, if you are shopping, do shop local and support, don't support the big international conglomerates and that type of stuff. So I see them trying to balance it. But yes, a lot of people are not going to understand this reaction about being upset having to come in 3 days rather than 2. And it seems that they are actually initiating some court action to see if it was legal for the government to do this, which I assume it is, because it seems to be a pretty clearly understood concept that location of work is the decision of the employer.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I'm not exactly sure how it but yes, it does seem a little odd, though, as you mentioned at first blush, if you're just looking at the surface for a workers group asking workers to take action that would punish other workers.
Yeah, this is the thing I don't get. They're like, we're going to send a message to those big corporate by harming the minimum wage employees who are just trying to earn a living. I get what you're trying to do, but you're a union that represents workers, and you're asking your workers to harm other workers. Do you not see how this is bad messaging? Do you not see the terrible optics? And yes, James, I agree with you. As I understand, Starbucks is now cashless.
Yeah, that's weird.
And when James says going cashless hurts poor people the most, yes, you are correct.
It does, because if somebody happens to be panhandling, you don't have change.
Nobody carries change
Nobody
anymore.
has change anymore.
You know what I've noticed, though?
What?
And I've noticed this from people I've spoken to. And I'm going to put this on the screen from Argosy Acres. So many just tap now. Well, I have noticed people panhandling with their smartphone out. And you can tap and give them money. You know you can do that, right?
I did not know.
Yes, that software is available.
I've not seen that myself. Yeah.
Yeah, and here's the thing. You don't have to have a $2,000 smartphone. You can get a $200 one at Staples. Like a no-name Android phone for like $200. Sometimes less. You can buy a used one. People donate their old smartphones after they've wiped them clean. They install new stuff on them and give them out to people. The technology is there. You can, it is changing. And I actually saw a gentleman with a Square reader plugged into his phone. So if his phone didn't have the ability, like for NFC, near field, but he had a Square reader. So you could just literally tap it and it would pop up $1, $2, $3, and you could choose and send him money that way, which I thought was interesting.
How cool is that?
Well, it's you got to understand when we start becoming a cashless society,
People will adapt.
People have no choice but to adapt, because otherwise you're carving them out of income. And somebody goes, well, why do people sit on the streets? Because ODSP welfare doesn't pay enough to survive on. Not live, survive. You can't survive. Yeah, and yes, I do understand that, Yoshim's. Yeah, Flipper Zero. I do know what that is. It's a device you can purchase on Amazon for $300, $350, and you can duplicate your card. And I've seen a guy show how it works. He's duplicated hotel rooms. He duplicates credit cards. It's the Flipper Zero. Literally, you can take this device, program your phone. You can turn your phone off. You can turn your Wi-Fi off, your Bluetooth, everything. You name it. And the Flipper Zero, boom, turn it right on, and then pull everything out of your phone. So yeah, it's dangerous. And James is correct. It is unconstitutional to go cashless because it says right on it, this is legal tender.
Right.
So when you can raise a fuss if you want when somebody says we're not accepting $50 bills, you can go, you have to. It's legal tender.
Yeah.
It's legal tender. You have to accept this.
Yeah.
You can refuse my business. You cannot refuse a $50 bill.
Yeah.
That's the loophole.
Okay.
You can say, no, we refuse your business. If you put up a sign, we do not accept $50 bills, I'm like, well, that's in violation of the law. It's legal tender. You have to accept it.
Mm-hmm.
You can refuse business for those wishing to pay with a $50 bill.
Mm-hmm.
That is different.
Yeah. The other thing that goes hand in hand with that is it seems that there are more and more businesses during COVID that weren't allowing access to their bathrooms because COVID. But now that we're in the next phase, the post-acute phase, that a lot of them have not made their bathrooms accessible, which again denies a lot of people a little bit of dignity.
Indeed.
Right? I was in Toronto the other day, and all of a sudden, walking down the street, and like, as often happens, and many people know, all of a sudden, had to go now. And I went into about 2 or 3 establishments. It's like, can I ask you the bathroom? Oh no, sorry, sorry, no. It's like I really, really like.
I'm going to soil.
I'm
your
about
floor.
to. I'm about to soil the floor, and it's like, sorry, our bathroom is broken.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your bathroom ain't broken.
That's a big problem in big cities in Canada, is that we do not have enough access to public toilets. We just don't. It's terrible. And Ottawa is one of the worst in the world when it comes to global capitals, like national capitals. One of the worst in the world.
It's like, I should not have to walk into a Starbucks and pay you $6 to prevent myself the embarrassment of soiling myself.
Yes. I have something for you here. That's the Flipper Zero.
Okay.
About this item. Sub-gigahertz transceiver uses a radio remote with many protocols supported. NFC, store all your MFARE, NTAG, and other NFC cards. RFID, store, emulate, and write your EM, Marin. Basically, it's a skimmer. And you can buy it for $390 on Amazon. So Flipper Zero, be careful where you tap your cards now because people can duplicate them. And that may be why my credit card suddenly has just stopped working.
I've been hearing about there's a taxi scam as well. That
yes,
if you are in a taxi, never hand your debit card or your credit card to the person driving, because apparently now you can buy taxi signs from Amazon that you put on top of the car so that your taxi and turn the light on. It can plug into a source of power within your car, and people are driving those and claiming that they are legitimate taxis, and then they're going to they take your credit card or whatnot like this, and they run it through and then give you a fake one. So there's been a couple of people that have been caught by that. Apparently, Amazon has been asked to stop selling the taxi
signs. Yeah,
the taxi signs.
And
they said
nope.
No, there's nothing illegal about that. So we're going to keep selling. So even though people are getting scammed, it's like, well, there's a buck in it for you. So
yeah, well, that's what it boils down to.
Yeah. All right, back to our Paralympians, Mr. Grizzly. We have the aforementioned Brianna Hennessy, who was the flag bearer, one of the co-flag bearers at the closing ceremonies, because she made history by picking up Team Canada's first ever medal in Paralympic history in paracanoeing, a silver in the 200-meter VL2 final. And by making that bit of history, that is what got to the Canadian Paralympic Committee to decide, you know what? You should be bearing that flag.
Yes.
So there you go. congratulations to you. We also have a gentleman that goes by the name of Reed Maxwell, probably the most naturally superstar name.
Well, I mean, that sounds like a superhero. Reed
Or,
Maxwell.
Yes, hi, I'm Reed Maxwell, here to save the day. Or
Well, it's like
newscaster,
James
right?
Bond or something. Hi,
Right.
I'm Reed Maxwell.
Or newscaster.
Or Stone Phillips.
Exactly. Welcome to 60 Minutes. I'm Reed Maxwell.
Oh, yeah. I'm Ed Bradley.
So there you go. So here is Reed Maxwell. Probably, I am going to guess immediately after competition of some type.
Let's see if we can get Reed on the show, because I just want to tell him how cool his name is.
Seriously,
not to mention
right?
the fact that look at how slick this kid is. Jeez.
Look at the cool hair too.
Yeah.
And the little smirk.
Yeah.
Right there's a picture like this. Reed looks like he's got it going on.
This guy, I'm not gonna complete the sentence, but there are those among us who will. This guy, and you know what the next word that follows is, right? I'm not going to say it, but you know that's the case, right? You know that's the case. You just look at that kid.
He picked up a silver in the men's 400-meter freestyle. So congratulations, Reed Maxwell. Then we have Nate. I'm going to guess it's Reich, because it's not Reich, because Reich would be E-I-C-H, but it's I-E-C-H. So I'm going to guess Nate Reich.
Rich.
Or Rich. Yes, maybe Rich. Apologies for not being able to pronounce the name.
Don't say Reich.
No, I know it's not Reich.
That's bad.
I did study 3 months of German.
Okay.
in university, so I know it's not.
This is good. Look at the screen from
this
the ocean.
Guy Fawkes.
F-A-W-K, Guy Fawkes, you know? Remember him? This Guy Fawkes, yeah.
I love it.
Thank you for that one. You knew where I was going. Let me grab a coffee. I'll be right back, sir.
Oh, okay. I will let you do that then. All right. I will pause that because I'm showing pictures and stuff. So yeah, go
okay.
ahead.
Yeah. Hang on a second. I think I can change it so you can do that. I'm just trying to see there. I think there is. I usually leave it off because sometimes we have guests and I don't want them to be able to control the screen. No, I think I have to do it before we log in. So
that's all right.
That's like I should activate it for you each and every time, so that you can just show things as you wish. The thing is, I leave it switched off because when we have guests, so it by default it's off, and I leave it that way because if we have guests, I don't want them to be able to take control. I'm still producing, right? But
right.
Anyway, all right.
Don't get that. I've got some more rating stuff, so I've got time to fill in before you come back.
I'll be like 20 seconds actually, because it's a fresh pot that's boiled. It's still on. I'll be right back.
All right. So also with regard to the Paralympics, it seems that there was I'm guessing this might be from the United States. Yes. In the United States, higher viewership than 2016 and 2020 combined. The 20% increase in media rights sales versus 2020 and a 60% increase in ad sales versus 2020. So even the advertisers are getting in on it. But, it's about 15% of the world has a disability. So it's not like there's not a market for this. You just have to build it and people will come. That's basically the important thing. I mean, there's an appetite for this. And if you do, especially if you consider that the audience is worldwide and global. Also, according to the CBC, Canadians spent an average of 1.2 million hours each day watching CBC's Paralympic Games broadcast coverage, up 119% from Tokyo 2020. So again, all around the world, it's not just in Paris. It wasn't just a Paris thing. In the UK, in the United States, in Canada, and I'm sure numbers are similar for Australia and whatnot. It's just people are really buying in to this concept, and like I said, nothing. It makes me very, very, very happy.
Oh, to address you, Saucy, I realized I hadn't taken my medication, so I loaded up on my meds, and then I gave Miss Lola her vitamin B. She gets a vitamin B every morning. It helps to calm her.
There we go.
That's why it took me so long to get my coffee. Otherwise, it was just walk into the kitchen, which is, I don't know what, 4 meters away, and pour a cup. Yeah, so I just took my medication and gave Lola her vitamin B, so that's why I was so long. My apologies for my tardiness and absence.
I think you can be forgiven, sir. I think you
Thank
can
you.
be
I
forgiven.
appreciate that.
All right. So this gentleman here, I'm going to say Nate Rich. I'm going to take yours here. Now, I got 2 photos of this guy because he was really, really very happy. So there's one, but there's the other one.
Oh, yeah.
Now, is there a more classic athlete pose than having your fist clenched going, yeah?
Being ripped.
Well, this guy picked up a silver in the men's 1,500 meter in para athletics. Thank you very much. Now, there's Canada has proven during the Olympics and Paralympics that we are good at throwing things. We are good at throwing the shot put, and we are good at throwing the hammer. As Canadians, we're also pretty good at throwing a fit in a good party, as well as a little shade.
Well,
But there are 2 other events, right? There's the discus and there's the javelin. Well, if we're asking about the discus, then this fine gentleman has us covered, ladies and gentlemen, and kits and cubs. This is Jesse Zezu, I would guess. That's how it's pronounced. And he picked up a silver for Team Canada in the discus. And I will also note here, so discus throw F-37 category, that Greg Stewart won gold in shot put 4 years ago. And then we got Ethan and Cameron and everybody else. So maybe it's our para athletes who are leading the way.
Yeah, definitely.
So next Olympics, we need someone to be winning some medals in the discus. And for the javelin, well, pending. I guess.
Yeah.
I guess we can't be good at throwing absolutely everything.
We'll get there. Don't worry. We'll get there.
Come on, javelin throwers.
Get your butts in gear.
Like this. All right. Next, we have KT Cosgriff, who I believe won a medal fairly early in the games. One of the first ones. Yes, September 3rd. And again, $1 million smiles, Mr. Grizzly. Just.
Oh, yeah.
Again. So I'm seriously, every single one of these people should have like a commercial with Crest.
Or Colgate or something. P&G. Get your butts down there and start
Please
recruiting.
sign our para athletes. Holy crap. So Katie Gosgriff won the bronze in the women's 100-meter butterfly event. Now, Kits and Cubs, there's going to be a series of people because we had a certain number of women on the team come together to win a team medal for Canada, which was in a sitting volleyball. So here we have Danielle Ellis, picked up a bronze for Team Canada. And then over here, picture should be up, is Anne Ferguson, Team Canada, in sitting volleyball. I should better find, you know what? I'm going to find an actual individual picture because she deserves
While you're searching for that, I'm just going to pull the screen down because we don't need to. Nobody needs to see how that sausage is made.
Okay. Well, right here.
While you're looking for it, you got it.
Yep, you have it.
Okay, there we go.
So Anne Ferguson, right over here. So congratulations to you, and thank you for all you have done. We have Julie Kozin.
This is all from the sitting volleyball team?
Yes. Jennifer McCreesh. Here. yes. And then, this should not be there. And then we have Jennifer Oakes.
Do they have? And I mean this sincerely. Are
Yeah.
they wearing like some sort of hockey pants to pad their butts to sit on that floor? Because that I know it. I know the floor is
That's a good
somewhat
question.
insulated and padded. It's not like hardwood,
Yeah.
but it's like, you gotta.
I would assume that padding would be appreciated.
Yeah, you think?
I would think, but that I actually do not know for sure. And then here we have Caitlin Wright. Also, she was particularly fierce
Mm.
when I was watching the matches play. Yeah, she really wanted to win. Let's put it that way. It was very clear. And Jolin Wong. And then over here we have Felicia Voss Shafiq. Look at that.
These are all badass athletes.
Seriously, look at the
Badass
concentration.
athletes. Oh yeah.
She is in that. And over here we have Heidi Peters.
Now, for those who haven't seen sitting volleyball, the court is smaller.
Yes.
They are grouped together tighter, and the net is shorter because, well, you're sitting down. It doesn't make it any less challenging because I guarantee you, no way on earth could I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't do it because your body posture, the way you have to move, everything is completely different.
Yep.
Like if I tried playing that, I would probably blow both my shoulders out in no time.
Yeah. And how you get from one spot to another because the ball doesn't travel less fast.
No, it's still coming in fast. And of course, there's the one guy from Iran who is 8'1".
Yes.
Who again, Paris, you dropped the ball on that one. You knew he was coming. He was on the team when in
you needed a bigger
Tokyo
bed.
and Rio, and you didn't give a bed that he could sleep in, so he slept on the floor. Not good messaging. I mean, Paris did an amazing job on the games, start to finish. That's one oversight and error.
There's always a blind spot.
There's always a blind spot. Yes, I'm not. I mean, look, they did 99 great things and one bad thing. But it's kind of a standout bad thing because
I'm sure Greg Stewart would have appreciated a bigger bed too.
Yeah, he's 7'1", so yeah. Oh, I'm sure for him, his feet were hanging over the edge.
Yeah,
like his knees were probably dangling over.
Probably, yeah. Here we have Allison Lang, who you know of because we showed that wonderful clip of her speaking about what the Paralympics are. And the para does not stand for paraplegic, but for parallel.
Correct.
Specifically.
Yes, and that was the rather impassioned speech.
Yes.
It says they're parallel.
Yes.
Not paraplegic.
So that's Allison Lang from the sitting volleyball team. And who else do we have for you? I think this is the last, but definitely not the least, Mr. Grizzly, but Sarah Malenka.
Okay. Just waiting for you to put it up.
Oh, sorry. I forgot to press the share button. I had it up, but I didn't press share. I'm too excited. I'm too excited.
So she plays sitting volleyball?
Yes.
Okay. Yep. Oh, I'm sorry. I looked at that at first, and I didn't think she had arms.
Yes, her arms are just
the way they're in the photo. I'm like, okay, how does she use her feet to like? And I suppose if she didn't have arms, yes, she would.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the women's sitting volleyball team who picked up bronze. Then we have Alexandre Hayward, who's a cyclist. Whoops, the share button's not working. There we go. Who also picked up a bronze for Team Canada.
Cool.
There you go. And I will find out the event here that he was in. Oh, did I close the window?
Well, that just
I am so
the way we wanted to.
silly.
These things do happen sometimes.
I am so silly. Oh, darn. Hold on. I can find it again, though. So yes, Alexandra Hayward won the bronze in the men's C3 3,000 meter individual pursuit. So that was on the track because they have road race and track events. Then we have Shelby Newkirk, who is also a swimmer, who on the first day of competition got a fourth place in her event and then waited till close to the end of the Paralympics for her next event, in which she's got a bronze in the 100 meter backstroke S6 category. Mr. Oh, darn, why is this not working all of a sudden?
I don't know, sir.
It was going very smoothly before, but now I'm having a little more difficulty. There you go. There's Shelby Newkirk. Again, very, 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 very happy.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. And then we have Kate O'Brien, who won. Okay, yeah, sorry. It was Kate O'Brien who won the first medal at the Games. I should have remembered that. And also in cycling at the track was a bronze medal in the women's 500 meter sprint. She picked up that one. And,
Outstanding.
that was in the C4 category as well. Then we have Keely Shaw, also a cyclist. Our cycling team did really, really well at the Paralympics, I have to say. I don't believe our cycling Olympians picked up any medals at the Olympics this year, and usually the cycling team is pretty reliable for one or two. But I believe that they were shut out. But at the Paralympics, they were rocking it. Several medals came from our cyclists. So this here, Mr. Grizzly, we have Keely Shaw.
Mm-hmm. 1 second.
Oops, I just made it disappear again, and there it is again. So Keely Shaw, who picked up a bronze medal for Canada at the Paralympics, and she did it in the C4 3,000 meter individual pursuit event. And I think, just one more. Last but not least, Kits and Cubs, we have Leanne Taylor.
And there we go.
There we go. Who picked up a bronze for us in the triathlon, if I am not mistaken. Yes, women's PTWC event in triathlon. So those are all of our medalists from the Paralympics, and we got to show faces, talk about the categories. I cannot possibly be more proud. And the Canadian Paralympic Committee actually put out a tweet at one point thanking all of Canadians for their support. And I'm sitting there and it's like, no. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for bringing us all these moments, all these thrills, like this, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat. You brought it all to us. We had inspiring stories like Jacob Wasserman competing at his first Paralympics just a few years after the bus crash that devastated Canadians in general, but particularly people in Saskatchewan and the Humboldt Broncos hockey team. We have stories of returning people coming out of retirement like Greg Stewart. Yes. We have people returning to the games like Danielle Doris and bringing home a gold. We had people that were there for the first time since surpassing themselves. We had people, I saw one Canadian athlete, and I wish I remembered their name, but said, I started competing because I was tired of limiting myself.
Right.
Like, what can this body do rather than what can this body not do?
Well,
and decided to go for it. I mean, whatever the motivation, right? And again, as we've mentioned on several shows, disability is the great equalizer. It can happen to anyone.
You are one catastrophic incident away from it. A single one. and your life has changed forever. And it can happen like that, as it almost always does.
Mm-hmm.
I have something for you I think we should share. This is Scott Russell.
Oh,
with his
yes.
sign-off. Get your hankies ready, because you might need it.
Oh, my God.
He gets emotional.
I love this man.
You know, these games lasted for 12 days, but they have given us thousands of memories and countless wonderful performances. And what's not to like about this kind of sport? I mean, people of every place, every country, every orientation, every ability, all in one place at one time to see what is humanly possible. And that really is the beauty of sport. It's a universal language because it brings us together and it helps us find some common ground. I love that. I want to take a personal note. This is my last broadcast as a host at CBC Sports. And I want to take a moment to thank all of my colleagues who I've worked with over the years. It's been wonderful to be in your company. I want to thank all of my friends in Canadian sport, the athletes, the coaches, the volunteers, and the leaders. You are doing absolutely great things. And I want to thank you, the audience, for sharing everything with us. I don't know about you, but I've had the time of my life. Thank you.
Oh, my God, Scott. How can you not love this man? Oh, my word. I was not expecting, he was delivering it. And just right at the end, oh my God, he got me. He got me.
Yep.
Oh. Gee. And again, you can, as far as I'm concerned, you can take this to the bank, but someday you're going to be seeing Devin Teru in that seat.
I think so. If he wants the job, I think
he
can. Yeah, I think he's definitely, because he has the same sort of compassion style, right?
I'm trying to think. I don't think I remember an Olympics that I've ever watched that Scott Russell wasn't there. Come to think of it,
I do, but I'm older, right?
wow.
I remember vividly watching the '76 Olympics in Montreal. I was in Montreal in my aunt and uncle's house. We were in the basement watching when Nadia Comaneci scored the very first perfect 10 in history, and I remember it like it was yesterday. So yeah, he wasn't part of the organization then because he joined in 1984. It's been 40 years.
Okay, yeah. Then that was the 84 was the first Olympics I watched. So yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
I've never known Olympics without him.
I watched '76 winter summer because back then the Olympics were held, winter and summer were held in the same 4-year cycle. I watched 1980 Winter Olympics in Lake Placid because it was like an hour from where I live, and we were living in Ottawa. Although, no, let me rephrase that actually. We weren't living in Ottawa at the time. Now that I remember, no. We got transferred to Ottawa and moved here that summer, but that winter, we were living in Gander, Newfoundland, and I remember watching the Miracle on Ice when the USA beat Russia in. I remember sitting there and I turned on the TV and I'm like, oh, Russia and the USA, this is going to be like a 16-0 blowout. Oh, what the heck? It's still hockey and there's nothing else to watch. We didn't have much to choose from on the cable dial at that time. So I watched the game and it just, the Russians weren't scoring. The Americans were holding them. The Americans holy shit, they won. With Al Michaels with his great call, "Do You Believe in Miracles?" Who was his play-by-play man that night, his color commentator? Ken Dryden.
No way, really?
Yeah, Ken Dryden. Yeah.
Huh.
He had retired from hockey at that point. And, Ken Dryden, the erudite, incredibly educated, incredibly intelligent man, was asked to comment for ABC Sports. So he joined Al Michaels in the booth for that. For those of you who didn't know, there's a little piece of trivia for you. Miracle on Ice in 1980, when Team USA beat Russia in hockey, which was not something that was, and you got to understand, the team, this Red Army, Soviet Red Army team, was the best team on Earth, and it wasn't even up for debate. The only other team that actually gave them a run for their money were the Montreal Canadiens at the time. And the Team USA was a bunch of college kids. They were 17, 18, 19 years old. They were still in college. And I think 85 or 90, 95% of the team was from Minnesota. So, yeah.
Okay. I think we are going to wrap up. I just have one other piece of news since we opened with Derek Fildebrandt. Figured we should probably close with another elected official that has a less than stellar track record. According to the CBC, Toronto MP Kevin Vuong has settled a lawsuit over a COVID mask business.
Oh.
Now, Kevin Vuong, if he's a name that is familiar to you, he ran for the Liberals in the most recent election, and then was pretty much booted out of the party fairly early on, and now sits as an independent because he lacked candor with the party. He was dropped as a Liberal candidate following reports of an ongoing lawsuit against him and his face mask producing company Take Care Supply, and a sexual assault charge from 2019 that was dropped later. Vuong failed to disclose these charges either during the party's internal vetting process, as nominations had already closed by then. Vuong remained on the ballot as a Liberal and was elected. He beat the NDP candidate Norm Di Pasquale by less than 1,400 votes. And I'm pretty sure that seat would be better filled by Norm Di Pasquale, given how Kevin has performed since. Kevin served as a reserve officer in the Royal Canadian Navy as well. But yes, not the most candid person about his past. And according to this,
how come he was not vetted in advance is what I don't get. Doesn't the party do
they
something?
were vetted, but he did not disclose. I mean, he did not disclose, and if things are settled before dropped, maybe they're harder to find. I'm not sure. But here he says that he settled a $1.5 million lawsuit filed by a former associate, designer and entrepreneur Anna Maria Mountfort, claimed Vuong and his business partner Larry Lau unfairly cut her out of their lucrative pandemic mask-making business. And I'm not unsure why a sitting MP would have a mask-making business while he's a sitting MP during a pandemic. That sounds like something that would have some rules around it. But Mountfort lost... Yeah.
One of the reasons he's no longer a party member.
Probably. Mountford launched the civil suit in late 2020 after she said she had come up with the name and design for the firm's signature mask earlier that year. According to her statement of claim filed in Toronto Superior Court, she was eventually pushed out and paid too little in breach of an agreement with the defendants. The case was set to go to trial this week, but has now been settled out of court. As an election is potentially coming. Very, very, very convenient.
Yeah.
Vuong, the independent MP for the downtown Spadina-Fort York riding, told CBC News in a brief email on Tuesday, quote, "The settlement terms are confidential." I bet they are.
Yeah.
Mountfort declined to comment. In a previous court filing, Vuong and Lau denied the plaintiff was ever a formal partner in their business. I'm guessing that was probably not true, given that they settled. Vuong, a naval reservist, ran in the 2021 federal election as a Liberal, but was disavowed by the party just days before the vote. The Liberals said Vuong had failed to disclose a 2019 sexual assault charge, which was first reported by the Toronto Star. The charge was ultimately dropped. Vuong has denied wrongdoing and described the initial allegation as, quote, a fantasy. Going back to that Toronto Star article of the day. I'm just clicking there for you to grab it to see what they had to say at the time. He was asked to pause his campaign after a dropped sexual assault charge was revealed. This was September 16th, 2021. In this article from the Toronto Star, written by Evelyn Kwong, Alex Balingal, and Alicia Hasham, who's the courts reporter. They say that they asked him to pause his campaign. And in a statement to the Star, the then candidate Kevin Wong said that, quote, he wanted to, quote, unequivocally state that these allegations are false, that he, quote, vigorously fought them until the sexual assault charge was dropped in November 2019. He said he would have continued that fight if the charge had not been withdrawn, and stated that it is, quote, deeply troubling that the allegations resurfaced just days before the election. Quote, I will be taking some time with my family, he said at the time. In a separate statement, Liberal Party spokesperson Alex Lawrence said the party first learned of the situation days before the article came out, and they asked Wong to pause campaigning while we look into this. Wong became the Liberal candidate for the riding of Spadina-Fort York that summer of 2021, shortly after incumbent Liberal MP Adam Vaughan announced he would not seek re-election. The woman whose accusation prompted the sexual assault charge told the Star she was not aware of Wong was running for the Liberals until she returned to Toronto recently to see his face on election signs in the King Street West area. It is the Star's policy to grant anonymity to people who allege they are victims of sexual assault. Court documents show the Crown prosecutor withdrew the charge against Wong on November 27, 2019, 7 months after he was charged and before the case had proceeded to trial. Quote, I met with the complainant in this matter for some time and the officer in charge. The complainant had a number of personal issues happening right now, Crown Prosecutor Louise Collins told the court, according to a transcript. Quote, I have reviewed this case and again decided it would not be in the public interest to proceed any further. In an interview with the Star, the complainant said she went on several dates with Wong after they met on a dating app in early 2019. On April 8, 2019, she said Wong came over to her home and the two watched a movie, went to bed and fell asleep. Not long after, she said she was woken up by Wong touching her. Quote, at first he's touching my breasts and then sorry, I should have put a trigger warning here.
Yeah, definitely trigger warning.
Yes. At first he's touching my breasts and then he's trying to slobber all over my neck and then his hands go lower, she said. She said she was confused for a few seconds and then told Wong she had to go to the bathroom, where she said she locked the door and contacted a friend. The friend came to the apartment, told Wong to leave, and he left without confrontation, said the complainant, who also provided screenshots of text messages with the friend from that night. The friend corroborated her recollection of that night's events. Wong did not address the details of the allegation against him in his statement to the Star. The complainant said she told the Crown lawyer that she, quote, didn't have the energy to go to trial as she had already been through the trauma of going through a criminal case after she was sexually assaulted as a child. Quote, at the same time, I told her that he has to say something or face some sort of consequences for his actions, she said, adding that she told the Crown that she wanted Wong to go to therapy or counseling. The complainant said that was the only time she spoke with Collins. She also said she was not aware of the charge against Wong had been dropped until the Star informed her this week. Brian Gray, a spokesperson for Ontario's Ministry of the Attorney General, did not say why the charge against Wong was dropped. However, Gray said that, quote, in general, Crown lawyers are, quote, duty-bound to withdraw charges if there's no reasonable prospect of a conviction or if it's not in the public interest to proceed. And I'm guessing that because she decided that she did not want to testify, given that she had already been through a lot, maybe the Crown decided that their chances of securing a conviction had materially dropped. Wong's biography on the Liberal Party's website describes him as, quote, an entrepreneur, lecturer, and military officer who started a company to make reusable face masks when the pandemic hit last year. Okay, so it seems that this may have he started the mask in the company in 2020 and the election was in 2021. So maybe not a conflict in that sense of him being an MP at the time, because he wasn't.
We don't have an emoluments clause here, but I think we should.
Yeah. But this was before he was an MP. So,
no, I understand that.
So there wouldn't be a national... he would have had to declare the company once elected, and hopefully he did that. But the fact that he started a company before he was an MP is not an unethical...
No. But that's the point of the emoluments clause, is
right.
Because these companies that exist in it, before you become an elected official, the emoluments clause allows you to divest yourself of them, yourself of the company, so that you are not in conflict at any time, which is exactly what Jimmy Carter did when he became president. Donald Trump didn't, though. He just said, no, it's fine. I don't have to.
Yes. Wong was also named one of Canada's top 30 under 30 in 2016 by the magazine Corporate Knights, which described his service in the Canadian Navy and Toronto initiatives. Controversies involving allegations of inappropriate behavior and sexual misconduct have dogged the Liberals through the campaign, blah, blah, blah. And then they go through the other things during the campaign that had happened in 2021. So getting back to this case, Vuong was later handed a $500 fine by the military for failing to inform his commanding officer of the criminal charge. And in 2021, ballots still listed Vuong as the Liberal candidate for Spadina Fort York, which is why he was elected as a Liberal, because they couldn't change the ballots. It had happened too soon, too close to the election date. The ballots had already been printed. But earlier this year, and if you look at his Twitter feed, Vuong seems to have left the Liberals completely and often espouses PP's talking points. And he said that he has asked the Conservative leader, Pierre Poilievre, to let him join the Conservative caucus.
Mm.
I guess Kevin thinks he might fit in better there.
Yeah, well, that seems to be fitting, pardon the pun.
Mm.
Shoe fits.
Yes. So bookends of MPs not behaving in the most scrupulous manner.
MPs behaving badly.
Yes, like this. And in between that, some wonderful celebrations, some wonderful Canadian athletes who have made us proud. There is more to go on. There's been the decision in the Coots trial, but I don't want to bring too much negative to this show because this was a happy one. So we'll talk about it tomorrow. But yeah, the sentence has been dropped and it was substantial.
I'm going to share one quick thing here on the screen, and then I'll read it because I think it's interesting. From, and I always screw his name up, Anand Harder. I screw it up. I can't say his name correctly.
Daradas?
Gerda Harderas. Anyway, he's a writer. He's a brilliant writer. And this is the end of a thread he had posted on Twitter. And it says, in private discussions, I hear more interesting searching about why voters of color are flirting with Trump. But the public stance is that it's just false consciousness. I don't think it is. I think things are happening that need to be understood with imagination and empathy. And then the response to that is, I suggest hanging around BDSM subcultures. One often gets a better idea of why some gravitate to dominance and authority, why others head to submitting and serving in subordinate position, why they may want it in daily life, and why some want to impose it on others. And then his response is, this is an area of research I have never considered part of my political analyst duties, but maybe. This is Anand. He's an author, writer, political commentator, political pundit, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
If you watch MSNBC, you will have seen him a lot.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting theory.
Not a take I ever thought I would read, but
yes.
But interesting at the same token. Is like, this guy's not out there.
I'm not sure that there are parallel. I mean, I understand the whole sort of dominance and submission type thing, and why some people are drawn more to one. But then,
I don't think it's that far-fetched of an idea though.
I mean, I guess academically it's worth exploring. But I mean, why is it that some people want them politically to treat them poorly? I'm not sure has necessarily a direct parallel with in the bedroom or in the dungeon or whatever, we are having a fantasy scenario, and
submission is submission, period.
Yes, no, I get that. But often I know in that subculture, for example, people that are high-powered workers that make a lot of decisions all day and have it's like, I'm running a company and 500 jobs depend on me and $2 billion and $2 million in business depend on me. And then, in the other part of their life, because they're making so many decisions and controlling things, they just want to let go. Right. And then other people, so there's that type of dynamic, but a direct translation to, yes, I would like a dictator running my country. Thank you very much. Might be a bit of a stretch. Might be a bit of a stretch. But academically, you ask questions to go look to see if there might be something there. Who knows? You never know. There might be. It's definitely worth a look.
And interesting comment from Yosham's BDSM is all about consent and respect, though.
Exactly. That's why I'm wondering that there's no There might not be a parallel.
But the guy's take was people who like to submit just do so willingly. So I think that's where he's going. I don't know. It's not. I don't understand BDSM. It's not my thing. It's not my jam. It's not part of my life. So
yeah.
And I don't judge those who like it. If that's your kink, that's your turn on, that's your thing. That's fine. As long it's two consenting adults. Do what you want. I don't care.
But there may be something. I would always first look more though at a gang and cult culture before I would look at BDSM. The parallels seem to be a little more, it's like, oh, you're alone, you don't have anybody. Come over here. We'll love you. We'll give you family.
Yes.
And then
yes, no, I agree with that. I think that's more in line, but I don't think it's the craziest take as well.
No, it's definitely worth some academic research to see if something's there. Like my first instinct tells me that there probably isn't all that much, but some people do willingly submit, and some people do willingly seek to domineer and dominate over other people. So maybe there is a parallel. You never know. It's interesting enough to explore it. That's for sure.
One final thing before we wrap it up. Corporate director on the board of Winks, Circle K, and INGO, or Ingo, I guess it is. Winks, a.k.a. Provisoire, which is part of the Provigo chain of corner stores. And you have to remember that these stores are now selling beer and wine across the province of Ontario. And who's their new corporate director? There's something a little greasy about that, don't you think?
So this is a new position he's got now?
Harper, chairman and CEO of Harper & Associates Consulting, is now corporate director. Provisoire, Circle K, Ingo.
This is a new position.
Yes, and I talked about this recently. Provisoire was trying to purchase 7-Eleven, and it didn't go through. But yeah, they want to purchase all the 7-Elevens, so old Steve-O can get some alcohol money. Birds of a feather flock together. Yeah, that's Duggo making sure his IDU master gets a share of the pie.
Jeez. All right, kids and cubs. Oh my God! Right out in the open.
Follow the money, my friends.
Right out in the open.
Oh yeah, look.
Jeez.
They're doing it in the open because they believe they can get away with it now. They believe that people are too stupid to follow the money and point to the absolute corruptness of the current provincial government of Ontario and former Prime Minister of the federal government of Canada.
Mocking us.
Oh yeah.
Just mocking us. And all of this is really fast because Stephen Harper was appointed to the company board of directors in just March of this year. So March of this year, he's appointed this. Then we get the announcement about the booze a couple months later, and now he gets elevated within the structure. I mean, it's September. This article's from March 22nd. He hasn't even been there 6 months, and he's got a promotion?
Mm-hmm. It goes back further than you think. This has been in play for a long time.
I know the thing that play, but the Harper thing, it's like they just brought him in, and then 6 months later they brought him in, and then 5 months later the booze is in the stores, and 6 months later he gets a promotion.
Yeah. Here's a video from 2011. Pay attention to this. On August 2nd, 2011, Toronto Mayor Rob Ford hosted a Conservative Party barbecue for Prime Minister Stephen Harper. At the barbecue, which was videotaped, Harper said, "We've started cleaning up the left-wing mess federally in the area. Rob's doing it municipally, and now we've got to complete the hat trick and do it provincially as well." After it was shared on the internet, the Prime Minister's office and Conservative Party operatives hired lawyers to suppress the hat trick video. Every time it shows up, the Conservatives sue and it gets taken down, but not this time.
We have a very, very, very special guest. He's my new fishing partner. He took me up north a couple of weeks ago and we went fishing, and I love the fish. Stephen Harper, the Prime Minister of Canada.
thank you for that warm welcome. I want to thank Rob as well for that introduction. I've heard about these events here, but this is a wonderful place to have a barbecue like this. But I want to thank Diane not just for hosting us, but for really giving us this great conservative political dynasty that we have here with the Fords. It's fantastic. And as Rob, many of you may remember, Rob endorsed us in the election. That helped a lot. And Rob is doing something very important that needs to be done here. He is cleaning up the NDP mess here in Toronto. So that's great. I have to get this plug in. I'm not paid for this one, but we started cleaning up the mess, the left-wing mess federally in this area. Rob's doing it municipally, and now we got to complete the hat trick and do it provincially as well.
You got to understand, all of this is we're being played. We're being played. This has been going on for a long time. They are trying to damage us and take all of our money, all of our public funds. Then it's costing us $1 billion to put beer and wine in corner stores. And they don't care.
Only in the first year.
Yeah. Only
Then it costs us forever.
Yes, well, it's $225 million just to end the contract early, plus all of the lost revenue stream, calculated out to be approximately $1 billion. We don't know what it's going to be in the long term. Could be even more. And I did highlight recently, if I can find the thread, where was it here? From, oh boy, I'm drawing a blank. You know how you need something to say? It's on the tip of your tongue and you can't remember it?
Mm-hmm.
It was from a gentleman who I've been following on Twitter for a long time. And he always documents things in just such a perfect way because it's he's an economist. It's his line of work. So he calls things out as they are. He doesn't make it up. It's truthful. It's factual. And it's always backed up. And right now I can't seem to find it. I thought I had bookmarked it. Maybe it's somewhere else. I will get it and share it with you again sometime soon once I can find it. Oh, here it is. I found it. Stephen Punwasi. I've got it. I knew I had the thread here. Let me read this to you. Okay, Canada, I need you to look past the left versus right BS for a sec. You don't understand how hard you're being screwed. In a few tweets, you'll understand government finance better than most politicians. You'll also see how effed up Ontario's corner store liquor deal is. Rushing the deal means taxpayers will shoulder an initial bill of $1 billion. If paid in cash, that tax revenue is equivalent to 111,000 families working for a year. Imagine the whole city of Windsor going to work for a year, all to pay that bill. But Ontario is broke. It has little cash. When Ontario spends excess money, it has to run a deficit. It'll try to get the federal government to pay some, read taxpayers everywhere, and borrow the rest. But let's say Ontario will borrow the whole amount. Last bond was 3.8% interest, so add another 51,000 families to cover interest. One problem. Canada's politicians borrow so much, no one wants Canada's shit coins. Canadian dollar bond demand is weak, especially with aggressive rate cuts. Canada has to borrow excess in foreign currency. If Ontario borrows US dollars at the same term of its last issuance, it pays 5.05%, about 71,000 families. Let's gloss over foreign currency exchange risk, which could see Canada fall 10% and add another 7,000 households working to pay it off. We'll also gloss over the fact that there's only so much Canadian dollar demand. So Ontario crowding the market results in all borrowing costs rising. Where was I? Oh, yeah. So that's equivalent to somewhere between 162 to 182,000 families paying taxes for a year. Large numbers are hard to visualize, so maybe imagine Windsor, Oshawa, and Orangeville paying taxes for a year just to cover the initial costs. Yep, initial. The LCBO's profits are currently delivered to the province as a dividend, reducing your taxes. How much? Last year, it paid the equivalent of 286,000 families. It's a big windfall. Small retailers will only get a 2% discount, but big box stores will get 10% off. Let's say big box stores capture 30% of the market. all else being equal. Dividend drops 250 million or 27.8 thousand households annually. But that's all things being equal, where costs are reduced linear with revenue. People think operational costs will fall, but the opposite is more likely. The LCBO is freakishly efficient since 80% of its business is its retail stores. It owns $118 million in land buildings with over $200 million in leasehold improvements. As the number of customers expands, so does distribution, complexity, and operational costs. Of course, that leaves the question, which of Doug's friends will handle final leg distribution to all of those mom and pop convenience stores he's been claiming will benefit? Probably nothing. Anyway, so weird how a grocery store baron's niece was appointed to that board. Liquor's also a high-value target. In retail, the losses are part of your price point known as shrink. It's annoying to have liquor prices stay lofty to cover the $77 million in theft last year. It's going to be really annoying when it pushes the cost of grocery higher. I have no problem with corner store liquor, but Ontario taxpayers are saddled with massive debt. Maybe that's the point. Remember Canada's corrupt infrastructure bank that turns the infrastructure you already pay for into profitable investments? Freeland just gave Dougie a 1-2. So, yeah, we're getting screwed. Big time.
All right.
Who profits from all of that? Former Prime Minister Stephen Harper.
All right. Do we have a show, Mr. Grizzly?
We do indeed, sir. Let's wrap her up.
All right, kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we love making this for you. Remember, sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless. So please tell your peeps and poops all about us. If you would like to make sure you don't miss an episode, you do not have to, thanks to the Ray Girl, who sponsors our pod page. Go to podpage.com/TheTrueNorthEagerBeaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And if you click subscribe there, when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it will come directly to you. If you would like to support us in other ways, and there we go, there's the QR code that will bring you right there if you are watching. If you would like to support us in other ways, make like Kit Elaine and surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page and click our buttons, like, share, and subscribe. They are waiting for you. It makes us happy when you do. So thank you very much. And if you would like to support us in other ways, please, the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's Head will bring you to our coffee page. That's coffee, ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word. And there you will find our tip jar. So if you would like to encourage us to do more or send us the message that you enjoy our product, then if you leave a little bit there, we are very, very grateful. Thank you so very much for everything that you do. And if you cannot contribute financially, do not worry at all, because the gift of your participation and attention is the one that matters the most to us. And we do love to hear from you. So write to us at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com. Thank you so very much. Or write to us on our Twitter feed, True Eager, or our Facebook page, True North Eager Beaver, or even leave us a comment right here on our YouTube page. We do try to read everything, and we appreciate everything that you do. Thank you so very much. Because democracy is something that you do, remember we have some by-elections coming up in Elmwood, Transcona in Manitoba, and La Salle-Villemar-Verdun in Quebec. Those will be happening in exactly in 4 days. So make sure that you make your plan to vote and that you're going to bring some friends with you. Nominations close for Ward 15 in Toronto on September 19th. And on September 19th, during the evening, there will be a provincial by-election in Ontario in Bay of Quinte. So do prepare your plan to vote there as well. It's very important. And sometimes just a handful of votes make the difference. So make sure that you do get out there. From the Beaver Lodge, this is your Eager Beaver saying it can be a tough world out there, so please be kind to and gentle with yourself. Mr. Grizzly, do you have some words of wisdom for us, please?
Yes, I need as many people as possible to keep people informed. Let people know what's really going on right now, because we have a movement within our provincial government and within the federal level that is trying to take over and turn this into Gilead. And I know that sounds hyperbolic, and I know it sounds a little bit crazy, but I just showed you a video from 2011 where they talked about taking over everything. And you got to remember that former Prime Minister Stephen Harper, who has got the puppets master strings for the entire conservative movement, which is the Reform Party, when he was sworn in as Prime Minister and he put his hand on that Bible belonged to the PBCC, and all the leaders of that church sat in the front row. So think about that, please, and share this information and this program with everybody you can so that we can get the truth out there so that people understand that there are people who want to actively harm Canadians.
All right, Mr. Grizzly, cue the cock. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and The Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, Mr. Grizzly, since I was really hoping to end on a positive note, let's end with this.
For the audio-only version, the folks who are listening at home, what we just showed was all Paralympic athletes who had medaled in the games.
Yeah. Thank you to CBC for a beautiful montage.
Indeed. Indeed.
All right, kids.
I think that's ending on a positive note.
It is indeed.
All right.
Have a beautiful
See ya.
day.